Phoenix Down Radio is on the air.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 152. I am your host, Klaus Nightbringer, and joining me we have Taliz and Sept. What's going on, guys?
Howdy, not much.
And we are joined by some special guests. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hello, I am Lily or Pop-Tart or Christy or whatever. I am from Wondrous Tails, and I am also here with Chip, also known as Pan.
Yo, what's up?
Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who do not know what Wondrous Tails is, they are a Final Fantasy XIV podcast that focuses on community. And they actually just turned 3 years old on last week, the 27th, I believe it was. So
That's
thank
right,
you
yeah.
so much for joining us. And of course, I'm looking at the screen and all of my changes didn't seem to hold. So I'm gonna have to make some edits as we're doing this.
I wasn't sure if you could do it all.
We'll do it live.
That's
Yeah, Bill
awesome.
O'Reilly this shit.
And that's what we do. We're doing it live.
I feel like if you're going to say Bill O'Reilly something, you need to very carefully clarify what you mean by that, because there's a
I
lot
just
of bad ways
assumed-
to go.
We were 10 seconds from the meme.
Yeah.
Man,
We-
that,
they
you know
just
how old
go-
that meme is though? Holy, like that meme's got to be at least like what 14 years old at this point.
Let's see.
Ancient.
Yeah. The O'Reilly owl is old enough to vote. I learned that today, and
Oh,
I hate
seriously?
it. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I need to get an Arnold Palmer in a rocking chair. I don't feel good. That's good lord.
All right. So the video itself was from the early 1990s. It surfaced
Yes.
on the internet in 2008.
Yeah. What's up? So 13.
Title
Yeah.
of the episode: Sayre, Captain Fact Checker. Got it.
Well, you're not
This is
wrong.
literally what I do. This is what I have the student loans for.
So I've already like lobbed a hand grenade
Valid.
of non sequiturs in, but thank you for having us on your 6th anniversary,
No,
and congratulations to you all.
Yeah, and like
I will absolutely follow you down that garden path. That's how this works.
like we were saying in the pre-show today, this all kind of started because Chip was visiting his girlfriend's family here in Minnesota, and which it wasn't far from where I live or work, so we ended up getting together, hanging out, and we talked about doing something like this, and well, here we are. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and I think I got the video set much better now. So
Sweet.
oh, I have one more thing to fix. I see. We'll keep going it. But how have you guys been? Sayre and Taliz, if you want to start, what you've been up to in the last couple of weeks?
The library keeps figuring out that I can do more things, so they ask me to do more things, but they're giving me more money, so...
More money is good. That's always
Also,
positive.
I ate a lot of food that wasn't fast food, and I don't hurt all the time now. Probably a coincidence.
Cheers to that.
Here's to you eating something that didn't come in a clear piece of wax paper after you bought it.
or just a
Uh,
wrapped, thing
Oh, no.
coming out of a drive-through window, asking if you'd like fries with that.
Quit restocking the sauce drawer. You don't need to do that. You have a job now.
What about you? What about you, Taliz? What have you been up to?
So I finally got all of my homework and all of my textbooks and all of my hardware to start my master's program, and I have been a student for 3 days.
Oh,
and
wow.
I decided that I was like, cool. I'm going to lay on my couch and eat Pizza Hut and drink Mountain Dew and pretend that I don't have responsibilities for at least one whole day, just to get that whole authentic college experience down in week
About to
one.
say.
Just to get it out of the way, because I've got a whole year of not being able to do anything fun. So I
Get it
want to
out
make
of the
sure.
way. But like, come on. So is this gonna be like a monthly ritual or what?
I mean, probably I do. It's full sale, so I don't have quarters. I have one class per month. So yeah,
Man.
Well, dang. So yes.
expect week one of every class to just be hot garbage for the next 12 months.
Have you figured out what archetype you want to go for here? I could order you a bong, a unicycle, a beret. There's options.
So I did go to Evergreen, so I'm actually super good with paper, but no. I actually haven't decided yet. I'm currently in the oh god, I majored in humanities for my bachelor's, and now I'm in sciences, and I get to learn APA on the fly at graduate level.
I'll provide you some resources after the show.
Please do, because Owl at Purdue is horrible. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, school's good, but otherwise everything has been pretty solid.
So now let's give our guests a chance to tell us about themselves a little bit. Who wants to start?
Lily does.
I do.
You
Okay.
do.
Lily does.
I guess I do. I don't know. I'm a podcast host. There we go. No, I play Final Fantasy 14 all the time. So we decided to get a podcast together 3 years ago, just talking about it. That's the main thing that I do online. I used to stream, but I don't really do that as much anymore. I was speedrunning Super Mario Sunshine for like a year or two. It was a while ago. But now I just work. I work in esports, which is very interesting. Yeah. And that's my entire life is just work in games.
Can you get on a Summoning Salt video, please? I need that, like, that indirect connection very badly.
Maybe.
Okay. I'll hold you to that.
And now, since you so kindly, let Lily go first, now it's your turn. Come on.
Oh yeah, right. So my name's Chip. In game, I'm Pan. I also play kind of a lot of Final Fantasy 14. I'm actually in a cabin in the woods with my girlfriend, who I met on Final Fantasy 14 in her free company, and we have since moved in together, and all of that is very good. My main goal in life is to put Lily on the spot and annoy her, and I'm really good at it.
Living your best life.
I really am. No, but yeah, so I live up in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle area. I work at a large creator of operating systems and cloud computing. So, guess who?
I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I don't know who that could be. Oh, they also make a video game console. One of them.
Ouya?
Like the least popular one. Well, not the least popular one, because no,
Atari?
not that one. Hey, Atari's coming back, baby.
You share 7-Eleven with the company that makes the least popular one, though.
True, it's true. Actually, wait, Valve does make a console, don't they?
Oh shit. Okay, yeah. Well.
Okay, thank goodness. But yeah, no, and then I play kind of a gross amount of Final Fantasy 14 in the free time I don't really have.
Yeah, free
I have
time,
a mentor horse. That's like my claim to fame, is that I actually, not only do I have a mentor horse, I did the whole thing in, 3 months? I went from 0 to 2K.
He does these things where he just goes, I'm going to do this thing, and then does it. Like that time that you maxed all your ventures out for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
That's fun.
Yeah, I do dumb stuff in game. It's, I don't know, I find it very soothing.
Oh, by the way, Lily, how have you ever hit 2 million MGP yet?
Soon. Really close. I'm almost there.
You're always almost. You actually did hit that 2 mil, right? And then you bought the cactor mount. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think I have everything I want now in the gold saucer.
Amazingly. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so you have Fenrir, you have the cactor, you have probably the hair and crap. What about the cards? There's some expensive ass cards, right?
I don't have those cards. That's why I said the ones that I want. So the cards that I have are all of the cards that apply to the mount. The only card I need is the Seed of Sacrifice card, which is awful because that fight is awful in normal mode, and I don't want to find a party.
Rules. That fight, the X version of that fight rules. I will not hear you. Yeah. It is the Tsukiyomi of Shadowbringers.
I have no idea. I have not set foot into an extreme trial since.
I haven't cleared it, but I watched a couple of friends do it. It's like, oh my gosh, they took the mechanics and they made them even cooler.
I think Tatani was the last one I cleared.
But the thing with that one is no mechanic really repeats itself. So you have to do a different thing every time something cast.
You have to know the fight. It's awesome. It's such a good fight.
I'm just glad I got my dragon. It does. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe one day I'll get back into the extreme primals again. I do need to get more dragons.
Yeah.
Man, hit me up. I'm always up for extremes.
I wish I could, but we're on Primal. You're on Aether.
It's right.
Soon.
Well,
maybe.
data
Soon?
center visit.
Soon,
Yeah.
2022.
We'll have to see when
Yeah.
that's all
They
ready to
they
go.
claimed before the launch of Endwalker, but I don't know if there's
we
been a
might
walk back on
hear
that.
more about it on something we're going to be discussing here later on in the show.
True.
Oh,
As far as me, I did the most adult thing you can think of. I refinanced my house.
Oh, you got that.
That's pretty adulting right there.
Yes.
Pretty good.
And
I
if
was
you're thinking
gonna guess,
something
like,
else,
paid
get your
your
head out of the
taxes
gutter,
early.
okay?
See myself
I
out.
wasn't, but now I am.
Yeah, I wasn't
paid
there
your
before.
taxes early. Organized your socks.
No, that's not very adult. That's something I did when I was a kid. But no, I my wrist is finally recovered from all the signing. Get your heads out of the gutter again.
Oh my god.
You know, I
yeah.
wasn't gonna go there.
And see that one, it took me a minute. I bought my place, like, I'm in the market for a new place. I bought mine 15 years ago. Now I remember what you're talking about, but it definitely took me a minute. Like, what? Oh, right.
Legitimately,
All
pretty
the
sure-
forms.
the pile of
Like
forms
the
was
amount
this
that you're
thick.
saying that, I'm guessing you
It's
don't
so
want it
bad.
in the gutter because you're already there and you want it to yourself.
Yeah.
She said.
He didn't say that. That's way too wordy. You're bad at this.
Insults are. Oh god.
There we go.
We need
Our
a
insults are
soundboard on our show so
We
badly.
need to use ours more. Is what we need to do.
I feel like we need some new sounds in it.
But hey, come on, can you beat that? Or well, there's always
A few moments later.
That's a good one.
yeah.
Oh,
See, I
God.
feel like if we got a soundboard, though, you would be the one that would use it, and you would abuse. Every time I'd be saying something, you would just like interrupt. Yeah, no, we can't do that. Nope.
I mean, like, we have to get a soundboard, but like, give it to Kristen, like the most responsible person on the show.
Ooh, Yes.
I feel like she would also use it like really well.
No, she's
Wow,
gonna
Sarah.
abuse it too. Come on, it's always the
Just
quiet
say
ones you gotta
classes.
watch out for.
Klaus and Sarah, who's the most responsible one on our show?
Ooh.
Nobody, because we're
I
all
was gonna
very
say, I don't think
irresponsible.
it's any of us.
I think it was probably Chili while he was a guest, or while he was hosting
I
with
mean,
us for a while.
responsible
Oh,
in what sense? The man still doesn't sleep. Like, ever.
Well, that's
He
saying
does
a
not
lot,
sleep.
then,
It's
isn't
weird.
it?
I'm like, dude, I was cool when I was 26. Like, I can't do that anymore. Like, I have crap to do. I need to go to bed sometimes.
But he works. I mean, video games is his life. I mean, he works in game journalism, so I mean, it's
True.
what he does. So,
True.
but we're here to celebrate 6 years of Phoenix Down Radio. So fuck yeah, we're here for that.
It's
Cheers,
about
everybody.
sleep cycles and game journalism.
And pie. All right.
All right. I do have a little stretch goal I want to throw out there. You know, throughout the month of August, we had played Final Fantasy X-2 because you guys helped us raise a whole bunch of money for Extra Life, and I thank you for all that. But if you guys want me to continue to play, if we can get $100 in donations tonight during our show, I'm gonna resume Final Fantasy X-2 for the month of September. So if you want to donate and help some kids, that would be amazing, and we can you can keep torturing me for playing that game. So I think we just beat chapter 4 on Tuesday, and I wasn't crying. Someone was cutting onions.
How many? Now I can't remember. It's been like 10 years since I played that game. How many chapters does it have?
I think it's 5.
Okay, I was
Yes.
gonna say I feel like you're like really far,
Yeah,
except for all the grinding you can do if you're,
Mhm.
Yeah.
if you're into that.
Like, there's lots of side quests and the like, all sorts of cool outfits.
I mean, I've been, you know, it's an interesting game, but I will say that the HD remaster does make things a little bit easier because you can turn on the 4 times speed. You can set it up to where you get auto refresh and where you basically can't die. You can increase or decrease the amount of encounters you get. So, you know, it makes
that's cool.
grinding a lot easier. I will say that. Find a nice spot to just run back and forth, turn the encounters on, run it at 4x speed, just let it kind of auto battle, and you're good.
There is, even on the PlayStation 2 version, because I definitely did this, there is a place very early in the game where if you have a rubber band and a turbo controller, you can just kind of let her rip for like 48 hours, you know, go on vacation with your family, whatever, come back and your characters are all level 99. You're still, I think, job leveling you got to do, but it makes the rest of the game pretty easy.
Yeah, but it's an interesting game. It's definitely I don't regret.
It doesn't take
not...
itself too seriously, and I'm very happy about it.
That's true. That's very true. I do want to also say a shout out to a friend of the show, Kupal Mithril, who generously donated 25 euros to us earlier today and is at a happy 6th anniversary present. So thank you so much for that. We do appreciate your generosity. But we will also be doing some giving away of things tonight. We've got some giveaways during the podcast. For those of you watching us live at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio, we're going to be giving away a Cruise Chaser and a 60-day time card. So in a little bit, we'll be doing our first giveaway for those of you who are watching us. And for those listening on the podcast, we didn't forget about you guys. We're going to be posting a very special tweet. So if you go ahead and retweet that and make sure to follow us here at PHXDN Radio out on Twitter. And if you retweet that with hashtag PDR6years, thank you for following. I got it. Thank you. We're going to give you guys a chance to win a 60-day time card, a Chocobo carriage mount, or a copy of one of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster games for either iOS, Android, or Steam. And we're going to choose 3 winners from that, from those who retweet. And yes, if you are watching live, you can also enter to win the Twitter prizes. So it definitely pays to watch us live here on Twitch. So look forward to that. So you know what? I think this is a good time to go ahead and start one of the giveaways. So let's go ahead.
Is it?
Let's see. Which one should we give away first? Time card or Cruise Chaser?
Cruise Chaser.
Cruise Chaser?
I see like time card first, like build up to the Cruise Chaser.
All right. So let's go ahead and start a giveaway. So for those of you here joining us live here, type in exclamation giveaway. So we are going to be giving that away for the next few minutes while we discuss some gaming community news. So Final Fantasy 13 is finally coming to Xbox Game Pass. They've been promising this one for a while. Copy and paste this. Oh, dang it, didn't copy. Don't you hate when that happens?
Rip. All
right, so a whole bunch of new games are going to be coming to Game Pass this month, including the long-awaited Final Fantasy 13. And it's going to be available for those who have it for console or PC. And have you guys, Chip or Lily, have you guys played 13?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but I suffered through it because I heard 13.2 was great, and I fell in love with 13.2 and Lightning Returns. So
not a huge.
I need to play those too, because it's definitely my bottom half of Final Fantasy games, and it might be in my bottom quarter of like main series.
I really liked it. At least part of it was that the character arcs resonated with a lot of what I was going through at the time. So it's like, okay, there's a lot I can relate to in this, and there's a lot of useful lessons I can draw out of it. Like, I know there's a whole thing about the first one that people play is often like their favorite, but then there's also like the stuff that happens at really formative moments, it feels like.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I can see where that would be the case. Like, I don't like Lightning. I didn't like that. Hope. And I didn't dislike Lightning. I actively disliked Hope. And I don't think that's a weird opinion, but her character just didn't do it for me. Like, she just seemed like gruff female Squall, or female Cloud rather, not Squall. Nobody's as bad as Squall. I have lots of takes, but anyway, which is unfortunate because I really liked the combat in 13. I thought like once you got out of the hallway and once you get into like open areas and you unlock all of the different paradigm shifts, like the combat is really fun and rewarding. I just didn't like, also, the last boss really upset me because there should never be a case where you have just a 1/3 chance to insta lose.
Yes, agreed. I didn't like Hope until late game Hope in the first game, because then he was just a black mage with all the broken spells. And then
Sure.
in 13.2, he's like, I have responsibilities and I'm older and not a whiny piece of garbage. And you're like, oh, outstanding. Are you in the party? No? Even better.
He's a teenager who just had his mom killed in front of him. The teenagers are
Yeah.
all whiny. It's a normal
He's
developmental phase.
So annoying.
JRPG, you're not allowed to have a mom. It's fine.
I just like I was in like my mid 20s, I think, when I played through that game. Let's say mid to late 20s, and so I think like my patience for teenagers was at an all-time low.
Fair.
It just and so
Alex-
it's kind of like Sarah. It's like almost the opposite of your experience, where I was just like, wow, this game, whatever the antonym of resonates with me is,
Yeah.
it just dissonances me. I don't know, but yeah, it just
Saz was pretty awesome though. Come on.
Daz was pretty awesome. Yes.
I mean, he had the guns. He had the chocobo chick in his hair.
He had the hair.
Yeah.
He had the hair. He had his just whole sazness, like
Yeah,
his
he was
whole
kind of the sass, you can call it.
yeah.
I used to
Saz
crap
is cool.
him because he had haste. Like that was the only reason I
Yeah.
used him, was he had haste.
Fair. Daz was
Which, I
cool.
mean,
Fang was
that's-
cool.
Yeah, haste is reason enough. That shit was insane.
But yeah, the battle system, like I said, I really did enjoy that for 13. You know, the whole 3-party system with
Yeah.
the stagger where they introduced that was really a lot of
Yeah.
So,
really
I
interesting.
know there was a lot of complaint about the you just hit auto battle all the time, but like I had been playing through some of the old Final Fantasies around the same time as like FF6. I have all of these other things. I am still just mashing attack with everyone.
And what's funny is those people also
it's like-
played 12, which was basically all auto battle.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this isn't actually that different, but instead I'm commanding the battle at a more strategic instead of a tactical level. This is a reasonably interesting change.
And the paradigm shifts were actually very nice.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, you're since you're hitting auto battle, just like the big thing is when you paradigm shift, you are doing it at this like higher strategic level. You're not saying use this spell, then this spell, then this spell. You're saying, okay, go for a more defensive thing. Okay, focus on debuffing the enemy. All right, now move into a all-out attack type thing. Like, you're kind of doing it at this higher level and letting them worry about the specifics.
And it was very cool to use that in some of the big boss battles and how that actually
Yes.
would implement and how it would play out. So yeah, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. The story was a little bit meh. Like I said, it was really improved with 13.2. I wasn't a fan of Lightning Returns, but it's the only one of the 3 that I didn't actually finish.
I loved it.
13.2 is the Chrono Trigger sequel we should have had.
It was a lot of fun. But
Wow, that's a scorching take. I do need to play this game, but I mean,
13.2, definitely play it.
Hi, I'm
All
Sarah, and I have so many opinions.
All right, but
I don't know what that's like.
not to be outdone, there's a number of Final Fantasy games that are going to be coming to PlayStation Now. So, yeah, and
Like
yes,
right now?
PlayStation Now is a thing.
So, okay, this is a sincere question, and I realize my employer is gonna make it sound like I'm dunking. Remind me what? So is PS Now like is that their Game Pass variant?
Yeah.
Kind of, yes. It's
It's
their
their
streaming service.
subscription streaming service.
Yep.
Okay, it's like their xCloud / Okay, so it's like you
Yeah.
pay $15 a month and you play whatever's on there.
Except it's a lot more expensive, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's its major downside. I was hoping that they were going to be announcing some major changes to the Plus system, where they would like roll in Now service to that. But
oh,
we're still waiting on that because I want to say it's like $30 a month for PlayStation Now. But
what?
their games, when they get them, don't go away. I don't believe. I believe they're just continuously added.
Huh?
Anyway, so there's going to be a number of Final Fantasy games that are going to be starting to join the PlayStation Now service starting on September 7th with the original Final Fantasy VII. And then a new game will be added each month. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is going to be joining the service on October 5th. Final Fantasy IX is going to be joining on November 7th. In December, we're going to get Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster. And then Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, is going to be joining on January 4th. So that's kind of neat to see that they're adding a bunch of those to those who want to be able to stream them without having to necessarily go out and find and buy them.
Yeah. 12, the Zodiac Age version of 12 is fantastic. It has so many of those like quality of life improvements, like the quadruple battle speed and stuff like that, which is great because that is a lovely game, but it is super grindy.
I really appreciated the way they did the licensed sports. I really hate it when you have a game where everyone just becomes kind of identical after long enough, and so having clear differentiation in roles, like, it really helped out a lot with actually my mental images of the characters and the like. Yellow with the katanas, yeah.
Did we give everybody enough time to get entered into the contest yet? If you haven't entered, exclamation giveaway, and make sure so you can join in and get your chance at a Cruise Chaser. We'll probably let it go till we get through the end of this one. Square Enix Presents is going to have a 50-minute event at the Tokyo Game Show.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Have they said they're going to show off 16 or?
well, what they have said is they'll be sharing news about their newest upcoming titles, along with other pre-announced information. But as was said in the last live letter, don't expect any information on 16.
That's right.
He says they want to have it there, but it's probably not going to be ready. But
Of course, Yoshi P never sets us up for any kind of trolling.
never.
That's total baiting.
100%
Okay, yeah, so it will
honesty
definitely
from
show up.
Yoshida every time.
That
And he
said,
never-
he has also been very frank about like when there's technical limitations or other stuff like that. So I don't even know how to read this one anymore.
He is so good at misdirecting just enough so that there's no outcome. Like if it shows up, that was classic Yoshi. If it doesn't, well, he did tell us.
And you just know he's giggling about it the whole time when he goes back.
And congratulations to 7 Deadly Streamers who won the Cruise Chaser mount.
Nice.
Thank you so much for joining us on that, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll be sending you the code later on. Just send us a message so we can get that sent to you.
I love that name, 7 Deadly Streamers. Very
Yes.
good.
Yes.
All right.
I like to imagine they're like party streamers and it's just like this festive atmosphere, except then they like come to life and strangle you or something. I hadn't figured out this bit yet. Why are you looking at me like that?
Are you DMing and you're just like figuring things out like during this for your adventure tomorrow? Because that sounds like a thing that a really obnoxious DM would make me deal with. Welcome to the birthday party. The streamers explode.
Only once they've tangled around your neck.
Not better.
I think that's worse.
And on that note, Final Fantasy XIV Live Letter 66 is going to be in. Is that what that one is? Or is it? Yeah, 66.
Yes.
Has been announced for September 17th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So it's going to be very easy for us to watch here in NA.
Oh.
Yeah, that's an unusual time for it.
Weirdly convenient. Yeah. Well, you won't have to watch it at like 4 a.m,
Right?
like you usually do.
I did that once and never again.
Yeah, it's just I'll just read the summary later. It's fine.
Yeah, so what they've said is that it'll include new Endwalker info and other miscellaneous updates. And maybe we'll hear more about the data center transfer so we can, or data center visit. At least maybe get some news as to how the progress is going on that particular part of it, and maybe some info on the Oceania data center. Because I know they've been waiting for a lot of server hardware to show up so they can get those built up and ready to go. You know, not only just to build up the new data center, but also to expand like Aether and the other NA data centers that are really having issues with login congestion. So yeah.
I hope that they can get their hands on servers. It is not, buying hardware is not easy right now.
No.
But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
there's-
Well,
There's
especially
just so little of the base components that everyone's struggling with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
well, especially on the level that they need to get them. I mean, there are a number of servers available if you're willing to get some of the lower spec ones, but on the level that they need, yeah, that stuff's really hard to come by right now.
Right. And if you need like 200 of a specific SKU of whatever, that's way harder than say like, I need 2 of these like Pro Lions from wherever. Like,
Exactly.
sure, okay, but yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we were like at work, we were able to get a few new servers this year. I think we got 5 A couple of them have Epic, and then a couple of them are Xeons. But we're not ordering 200-300 servers with 2 terabytes of RAM and massive amounts of hard drives. So
Right.
it's quite different when you're on that large of a data center level. But anyway, regardless, it's a happy anniversary to Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn, celebrating 8 years right now. Isn't that crazy?
Seriously, been 8 years.
8 years.
Is this where we make an endless 8 joke?
We could.
That
I don't know if
sounds
everybody
like
else is
we're not
going to get it.
to.
Well, okay. How many people are going to get it other than you and I?
It's true. Okay.
I was thinking
Anyway.
the Crazy Eights, but yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. Like, put an 8 on its side. You got yourself a nice little infinity sign. It'll go forever.
And ever and ever and ever. Oh, and Chip, this is your reminder. Don't forget to do the Rising event before it ends on the 9th.
Oh my god. Right. Yes. I will do as I think we discussed earlier. I will probably do it on the 8th in the evening / early morning.
I still haven't done it yet, too.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like the last thing I did before I pulled everything off of my retainers and took off all of my belts and pulled all the material because I'm not playing for the next little while. So I was like, I'm just gonna pull all this stuff. But I was like, I'm gonna do the Rising event first. This is gonna be the first thing I do before I do all the temporary long-term hold, shut down my account stuff. And I went through it and I'm like, get to see Yoshi P come out, and I'm reading all the dialogue, and I'm just like, I'm gonna miss this dumb game that I haven't logged into for 10 months.
Oh no. Oh wow. Yeah, definitely time to take a break. I assume you're coming back for Endwalker then.
No, actually, I honestly haven't really given a crap about this game since 5.2. So I just decided that I was gonna keep paying for the sub for no reason, and then I was like, well, now I'm starting my master's program, and there's no way I'm gonna have time to play.
Right.
I was like, I'm just gonna save $10 a month for the next year, and then just when I graduate, that's my reward for graduation, is that I get to go back to Eorzea and keep playing.
And we'll be here to help you through the game. So
thank God, because I'm gonna have to do 6.0 from scratch with a returner flower and a bunch of other crap going on.
well, I mean, we're gonna be getting through
We'll be
it
able to
in
craft you some
in a
stuff
week.
by then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we'll be
Oh, yeah.
getting through it in a weekend, so we'll be able to get you through it just as fast.
I will probably take a slightly more measured approach to it, a full week.
So much better.
I'm taking off of work. I made that mistake last time for not taking off of work, so I'm taking off of work.
Yeah.
I'll probably.
it's right around Thanksgiving as well, so.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's the
very
week
easy
before.
PTO.
Not as easy for us, but we'll figure it out one way or the other. But as we get this time of year, there's new Tales from the Twilight stories. There are currently 2 of them available out on the Lodestone to read. The first one is called The Burden of Duty. Duty.
We're 5.
And the second one is called Her Father's Daughter. I was going to read these before the show, but I am a terrible host and I forgot. But I do plan on actually reading them because there is a lot of interesting lore information in there. For those of you who are interested in finding out more about characters who have played a part within the game but are kind of on the sidelines right now. This is usually where we get information about Fordola and people like that. So
yeah, the second one definitely got some arguing going among the lore mongers, in part because some of the details in it seem to contravene stuff we already had established, and we're not quite sure if they're quietly rewriting some of the stuff or what's going on with that, but. Or if maybe just once you have a game that is 8 years old, it does become a struggle to remember and keep together every single detail.
Yeah, it's probably more the latter. Or they just needed a better way to make it work, so they just retconned it a little bit. I mean, they've never done that before.
Nah.
And as always, there is, to go with this, there's currently a sale out on the Mog Station. And I believe Chip is going to be going broke here in about a week. That's where you can get the SDS Fenrir on sale right now. You can get the Chocobo Carriage on sale. I
have wanted that Chocobo Carriage for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's so cool.
Instead of $36, it's only $25. So
Dude,
Others
ever since I first saw one of those back in I think they had them in 1.0, I was like, oh my god. I mean, it's a cutscene type thing, but I was like, oh my god, I want one of those. I want to go around in one of those. I thought Chocobo Porters would be riding around in one of those.
be kind of neat, but yeah, I'll probably pick one up for myself as well. But I won't, that's where I wanted to grab one for you guys as a giveaway and a thank you for helping us to get to these 6 years. So pretty awesome.
I said earlier today I wasn't going to, but what's actually going to happen is I think we're recording on. Are we recording on Monday?
Yes.
I should be asking you this live. Cool. This is good.
Yeah.
We're very professional. So I guess
This
on
is
Monday
about
is
par for the
probably.
course for this show.
It's fine.
It's good. So on Monday I'll probably do my yearly dumb nonsense where I just go to the Mog Station and spend money live while we're recording.
Yeah, last year you were at almost $200, I think.
That sounds right. Man, that's the second time today I've heard that, and it doesn't sound better.
And he's gonna keep doing it every year.
See, I want to this year, but I guess the other thing that I didn't say, the adult thing I did, is I just bought a house. So I'm like, let me be like a little responsible for like a month or two. I'll wait for the next sale, maybe.
I mean,
I did buy the Cruise Chaser, but
you've got until I wrote September 21st, but I think it's actually October 21st, or is it September?
It is September 21st
September,
because
okay.
I'm looking at the thing right now.
Okay, which thing was that October then? There was something that I thought we would. Oh, it's the next thing we're going to be talking about. It's the Final Fantasy XIV weapon design contest that goes into October. I knew something was. How's that for a really janky segue?
You've had worse, but I don't know that that's that much better.
All right, so in this one, you can create a digital image of a weapon you would like to see implemented in the game for any of the jobs currently available in-game, including Blue Mage, but apparently not Sage or Reaper, using the provided design templates. And there will be...
Yeah, the templates are mostly showing like a sizing type thing. I mean, with the axe, there needs to be a spot that the player will be able to grip it, other things like that. So the model has some restrictions in that regard.
Yep. There will be 18 grand prize winners, one per job, that will have their weapon put into the game and will win a Great Paraserpent in-game item. 100 finalists
Actually very cool.
will receive the Great Paraserpent item, and then 300 runners up will get to choose from the standard complement of other prizes, like the Scarves of Wondrous Wit and the Aramon Choker, but also the Strife hairstyle. So if you want to stretch your creative legs and create a non-harp bow for bards, please.
Please.
That would be nice.
Make a simple bow. Make just a bow.
Yeah, I like the simple ones. And like you've got some interesting designs out of these before. Like the late Allegan, that glamour set came from one of these, as did the Skalik gear, which that one they designed the healer one, but then the developers, and actually it's true for most of them, that they'll call for like, okay, for a healer or for this thing, but then they end up designing sets for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. The Skalik gear is I still see people running Drowned Temple or Drowned City, whatever it is. Because people love it.
I am trying to get all of the pieces because like I really love it. I use most of them for glamours, and someday when our squadrons can level up again, I will outfit all of them in Skalik gear because then they will look like a professional military group.
Because my name is Sarah, and I'm all about all the storyline and making things look pretty.
They are going to be world consistent, damn it.
You just reminded me that squadrons exist. I had forgotten for like at least a year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Squadrons exist just to make look very silly. You know, that's what you dress up with your reindeer and your snowman and your pig costumes.
Or you just hire the one who comes with a snowman costume.
But when you really don't care, you just play dress up with them and make them look like that.
I don't know. I
That's
dress
what
up myself
retainers are
like
for.
that.
Or that, yeah. Oh my God, boy.
Or your custom
have some
delivery
looks.
clients. Like the fact that we like almost every NPC, not quite that bad, but so many of them that we meet, it's like, and the reward is now you get to make them wear the clothes you want.
You know what's weird is it doesn't bother me to dress my retainers or my squadron if I paid enough attention, but dressing up the custom deliveries people, I find that so gross, for lack of a better word, and I don't know why. I don't have a good reason for this, but it just like Every time I think about it, I'm like, no.
Here,
The
this is
main
the
one-
shirt I've been wearing for the past 2 weeks. Wear it.
I have like a
Yeah.
set of dated gear from 1.0 that's like kind of a merchant outfit, and I will put them in that.
Hmm.
It's like, all right, you are now part of my mercantile empire.
Okay.
'Cause that's how Sarah
Watch out,
rolls.
Rowena. I mean, honestly, no, Rowena would eat my lunch. The best I can hope for is a contract with not completely unfavorable terms. Think about these things.
Pray she
You
doesn't alter them
thought
further.
just way too much, man.
Right? Yeah.
I honestly
mean-
came up with most of this in the last 30 seconds.
What if you could get her and Geralt like together for realsies though? Do you think she would
I
help
mean,
you
they
out
were-
at that point?
Oh, like get them back together? Because they were married
Yeah.
once upon a time.
Mhm.
Right, but I
Like,
mean, there's
Those
there's
visions,
something.
those
There's still
visions,
something there.
those visions of wedded bliss were not coming from nowhere. Oh, Geralt, you complicated man.
All right, so that's the
Anyway.
game and community news that I was able to find. But now, one of the things that got us into podcasting, or at least myself, or wanting to get a podcast started, was my love for this game. It's no secret, I've told this story a number of times. When I became unemployed back in 2015, I was doing a lot of running, and one of the things that I would listen to as I was running was podcasts, and I found shows like Limit Break Radio, Etherite Radio, Sequence Break. There was a number of 14-based podcasts that I was listening to, and I'm like, it's doesn't seem that difficult to jump into. So, well, on September 5th, 2015, we started our first podcast, and 6 years later, we're here talking about why I started the podcast again. So, but like I said, it all started because I was really, really enjoying my time on Eorzea, and we had just gotten through Heavensward. Sarah and my old free company mates at Phoenix Down, we actually just we plowed through Heavensward in like 2 days. Sound about right?
That
That's
sounds
fast.
big. It was a blur.
Wow.
A very enjoyable blur.
Oh, we had an amazing time doing it. But yeah, I want to say we were done by Sunday.
I mean, it was also the type of thing where it's like, okay, this scene is really good. Yeah, I could stay up another half hour. I only need 4 hours of sleep.
2,000 years later.
Okay, so going back to the history of the Dragon Song War then, all right.
Oh no.
Sorry, folks, I didn't mean to push that button.
All good. It's too late now.
But yeah, I mean, literally, I think I played, for 15 hours at a stretch, and we were all just flying through and leveling up together and running through the dungeons, and it was an amazing time. And we finished well before the official release, so we were just trying to figure out the things that we can do now. And then we had, like I said, we had the idea to start up the podcast, and yeah, Sarah's been here the entire time with me with that, and we've had a number of amazing guests and other hosts that have joined us in the past. We had, initially we had Tristan, who joined us for a couple of episodes, and then there was Sayo Mayo. We had Chili for a good run. Luna, we cannot forget Luna. One of my best friends, IRL and in game. So it was a lot of fun to have her in there. And like I said, Sarah, who's been here the whole time, and then now Taliz, who's been with us for 2.5 years.
2.5. Yeah.
Holy
It's my third
crap.
anniversary show.
Where does the time go?
I have no idea. It just vanishes.
No.
But yeah, so I mean, I started this because, and then we slowly transitioned from a 14 show to talk more about everything Final Fantasy related, because there was so much happening. We were getting the Final Fantasy VII remake. We were getting all of these remasters of 8 and 9 and 10. We were getting, we now have the pixel remasters of the original 6. We've got 16 coming out soon. I mean, there's just so much to talk about in the Final Fantasy universe. And then the music. Oh my God, the music.
The music is so fun.
I mean, I think those have been some of our more enjoyable episodes when we were going through all the different soundtracks for these games that have been going on, and there's just so much
People
to talk
really do
about.
seem to like those ones. It always surprises me. It's like I'm just kind of rambling about the emotions I get out of this. How is this popular?
We went disc by disc, track by track for like months. It was awesome.
And we're going to be starting it again soon with Final Fantasy IX. I do have that on deck and ready to go.
Oh, that's a great OST.
Oh yeah, I mean it's my favorite Final Fantasy game. And some of the music, it how Uematsu and the subsequent other composers came up with the songs that just gave you so many emotions as you're going through the game. It just was incredible. Even now, you hear a song and you think about what was happening in the game during that time, and it's like, it just brings back so many memories, and you just listen to it again, like, before the show or after the show, when we have these beautiful piano renditions of the songs. You think about those things. Like I was saying, the Final Fantasy X-2 music comes up. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that music now. But
I got to playing. I was playing 3, and I got to Aria again, and I just put the iPad down and just sat here for like a solid couple minutes and just listened to Aria. I did the same thing when I hit Matoya's cave. I did the same thing when I walked into Crystal Tower. And I'm just like, I haven't played these games for 25 years, but I've listened to these soundtracks more recently, and just hearing a new version, a new orchestral version that's been remastered and retouched within the last couple of months, I get that same kind of emotional response.
mm-hmm.
And it's so incredibly cool that we got to play with music, and we get to keep playing with music, because God knows I don't know if we'll ever get through all of it.
And just as I didn't play FF3 until much more recently, so a lot of those tunes I have more associated with the FF14 appearance of them, so like the Crystal Tower raid, all of that. So I end up getting a lot of the feelings I got from that, like a lot of associations for that. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm hearing this music. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm already having this set of attached emotions to it, which I guess kind of happens in reverse for those who had heard it and then got it in FF14 again. It's like, okay, we have this the depths of this thing to explore. We have this towering spire. We have this the world of darkness stuff.
Shantyman Gaming in the chat saying Final Fantasy was a series that elevated video games to art, largely because of the music. And yes, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like that was the first ones where you started getting the orchestral concerts in the US were Final Fantasy ones, weren't they?
That, and we had the Symphony of the Goddesses, Legend of Zelda one that was running around for a while. There's been 2 or 3 Final Fantasy ones that have been around for a while. Yeah, those are all a lot of fun.
Oh, amazing!
They're great.
Like,
yeah,
I've been
like,
to
I know
the full orchestral one. Why is it blanking on me right now? Distant Worlds, as well as a New World. The smaller chamber orchestral one. So amazing hearing it live.
And it had been something where for I know that those concerts had been more of a thing of Japan, but in America, like for the longest time, okay, video game music, it's bleeps and bloops. It's like your classic arcade type thing or an Atari system. And it was like a lot of those orchestral concerts that were kind of this coming thing of like, no, people on a broader cultural level being like, no, there's actually like really good music here. The classical station that my dad listens to now has, as part of their yearly roundup of the most popular stuff, includes some video game soundtracks.
Which is crazy. You wouldn't have thought that would have happened 20 years ago, and now just look at how elevated it is.
Now we have things like Tommy Tallarico doing video games live for so many years, where he was branching into a lot of different franchises, even ones he didn't specifically work on. And he was just like, can we perform your songs? And it was like, sure. So he did a bunch of Yasunori Mitsuda songs with some girl who, some doctorate level flute player who did an Otakon cosplay as Link a couple of years ago and had the Link versus Navi flute battle. She ended up joining his team, and they did the Scars of Time track from Chrono Cross
Oh, that's such a
with
good
a
track.
flute and an acoustic guitar, and that's it.
Oh, I bet that rips. I bet that's
It
so
was
good.
so incredibly cool. And we see this, and that was their final song of the show, and we're all just kind of sitting there like 45 minutes ago, the four guys that sang the monk's chant from the original Halo Combat Evolved were here on stage singing. And then at the start of the show, we had a video chat with the late and amazing Ralph Baer. And he got to wave hi to his granddaughter who was in the audience.
Oh.
And we're going home and we're just like, how is this a thing that we have in existence at all? And you start tracking it back, and it's a lot of it leads into Uematsu. A lot of it leads into, yes, I only have a limited scope of what I can compose with, but I'm going to compose with it, and it's going to be amazing. And here we are 35 years later, like, yeah, sure, I'll pay $60 for a CD that comes with a minion.
You mean a $6
Well,
minion
no
that comes with a
questions
DVD?
Well, I took my mom after in 2005. I had moved from Chicago to Boston, and I came back to Chicago to see my mom for. I don't even remember what the occasion was, but bottom line was I took her to see Distant Worlds, knowing that like she's a huge fan of classical music in general, was never a fan of video game music, didn't get farther than World like 4-3 in the original Mario Brothers, and once grounded me for a week for beating her way too bad at Dr. Mario. That's a true story. I was probably really rude about it. Because
But that's so good.
It's very funny. But anyway, I took her to see Distant Worlds, and I remember coming out, and she was just like, that was incredible. I didn't think I was like, she was very blunt and honest with me to the point of like, she was like, I was just kind of going to hang out with you. I didn't think I was really going to get much out of this, but I loved it. And, that's one of my very most fond memories of my mom. And yeah, it's just incredible to see how much that scene has blown up since then.
Yep. I actually have to agree. Seeing Distant Worlds is probably one of my favorite memories when it comes to, most things in general, but especially Final Fantasy.
Agreed.
It went with some friends, had a good dinner beforehand. I was playing as a red mage as we went, and as one does, but going into that, mixed with people just wearing, regular jeans and t-shirts, mixed with people wearing full frickin' dresses, suits, ties, all of that.
I went to one of them for a formal thing. It was at a nice place. I was like, hey, I want to show that this could be like a fancy formal thing too. Plus, also, I just wanted to dress up.
So Seattle Symphony does them pretty well. I mean, in the before times, would do them pretty regularly, and I always would go in a suit and stuff because I'm going to the symphony, like I'm going to dress up. But I also love to be there in that exact like situation of I'm in a suit and tie, and the person next to me is dressed as Yuna or whatever. Like I just think that's so fun.
I mean, I will say it was very cool to have a bunch of people say, "Hey, I loved your costume. Can I have a picture with you?" So
yep. Like you're at a con, almost hallway cosplay stuff.
It was really cool.
Seattle Symphony is a lot of interesting because Seattle doesn't dress up. We just don't. We don't really care.
Right.
But when you have somebody from not here that's here, it's like, I'm going to the orchestra. Let me get my tie. I need to wear the good belt. And then the rest of us are just like, yeah, I took a lift here and I'm not wearing socks and I still have my Amazon badge and like someone's in a Patagonia jacket that they've owned for 15 years. My buddy Jeff showed up in a blue t-shirt with a warrior symbol on it and he plays Paladin and he was mad about it the whole day because they shipped him the wrong shirt. And we were just like, and then like the people that have the yearly membership that have bought the box seat that only cost them $10,000, they picked out their least expensive monocle for the day. They show up for the symphony and they're like, what the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is going on right now, as there's nothing but cargo shorts, cosplayers, and t-shirts, and they show up in tailcoats. And they're like, this is not...
so funny.
For what it's worth, at least some of the people, I know some people who do show up in tailcoats and the like. It was unexpected for them, but some of them actually really liked it because it's like, this is something that we want to be for everyone, and we don't like that it's become, just for the rich and fancy and whatnot. Like, they like the idea of like it being something that more people could enjoy.
Make it accessible to all.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I've really thought that the video game concert series like these has been able to do, to bring fine music to everybody.
The theater.
A little bit of culture, yes.
A little bit of culture, eh? Hey, what?
Quite.
A pop of beer with your performance.
Yes.
How much is the wine? $7. It comes in a plastic cup. Outstanding. I'll take 3. This shit comes out of a box and tastes like feet, and I don't care. Here's $20. I want the wine, please.
What about you, Lily? What are some of your memories when it comes to Final Fantasy? And we've been talking a lot about music, but I want to hear kind of what has really drawn you into loving Final Fantasy.
So I've always loved video games, obviously, like my whole life. I already said that before, but I never really got into Final Fantasy until around when 13 came out. Not with 13. I was playing like 7, 8, 9. And it was fun. I always liked RPGs. I always played Pokemon growing up. I just didn't expand. But I guess just kind of the more you get into the community and the more you find a lot of like-minded people is kind of what started drawing me towards Final Fantasy games. And then when 14 came out, I was kind of interested in WoW, but I was like, that's very, very overwhelming. So I'm going to start with a game from the beginning. And I've been playing ever since, kind of jumping in and out. I actually started on a Japanese server on Tomberry, and I transferred over to Gilgamesh, and I met Pan and a bunch of other friends that I have to this day. And that's honestly the best experience in Final Fantasy to me, is just, the friends I made along the way.
Yep.
But
It's cliche, but 100%. I 100% agree.
Yeah, and it's crazy kind of just to look back to be like, these are people that, are online friends, but like I talk to them every single day. Like I have a really great group of friends, really great group of girls that I play the game with, which is very, very important to me. I have like a safe space within our free company and within my friend group, just to be able to hang out and not have to worry about anything. So it's a lot of fun meeting all of them in real life. I've only met one, but soon more. I've only met Kristen, but maybe Pan one day.
Next time I get out to DC for any real length of time, and when there isn't some family stuff going on, we'll get up to Philly for sure.
Yeah.
Or nearby.
Yeah, Pan meets everyone. I don't meet anyone, but it's fine.
Well,
it's fine.
Very cool. I mean, I can definitely, double that 2016 Fan Fest, kind of. I'm jumping in again to another one because this really reminded me of that, the fact that not only there have been a lot of people that we have talked to a lot, through the game, through the podcast, but now getting to actually meet them, meeting Chili for the very first time at Paris was astounding. Hanging out with Pete and Avi and Ruby and meeting up with them at a bar, the day before FanFest starts, and just shooting the shit, just on whatever, it was so much fun. And then being there as Yoshida was announcing Stormblood.
Yeah.
That frickin' trailer, the entire room, you could just sense the energy coming from people, all the excitement, as the Square Enix logo was going up the mountain. And then we get the battle between Lise and the Warrior of Light, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, right, Sarah?
Yep.
Sarah was there. I watched the trailer later, and I was just like, I'm reading comments on the YouTube video for it. I was like, I would have killed someone to be allowed to be in that room. That sounded like it would have been so incredibly cool.
It was complete
And,
fire, and I'm sad that I missed the announcement for
But I feel like several of you have been hitting on, because it was a type of thing where it's like, normally I'd be sitting next to a friend or someone I met, but even if it was something where it was just me, like, immediately turn to the person next to you and start talking about whoever they are. Like, one of the things that has made it so enduring is that there's a good sized community, and it's so easy to share about what you love about.
We're passionate about. And that's just all of us are doing. Like, we've all 5 of us at this point have said, oh yeah, and then I met this person online, and now I moved in with them, met them at Paris, started a podcast. Like, we all have these stories of, like, yes, I went to KupoCon because I wanted to see Final Fantasy stuff, and now I hired one of them for my nonprofit, and one of them asked me to come up for his birthday. One of them helped me write my application for my master's program. I helped him write his application for his master's program. Like, we talked to each other and we came together not because we were assigned this way, not because we ended up in a cohort together in undergrad, not because we ended up at the same job because we needed a job at the same time. It's because we voluntarily said, hey, I love this weird job-based, Moogle-driven, chaos energy-fueled, pixelated or not, video game series so much that I'm going to spend $65 and drive for 2.5 hours to cross a border, and I was one of the nearby people, to go to an event just to hang out with other people that love this as much as I do, that are willing to sit down and have a full-on dissertation from memory about why Freya is the best character in 9, and they can defend it with evidence, and it's amazing. Like, this isn't something that we get in Mario. This isn't something that we get in most game franchises, but boy, we definitely get it in Final Fantasy.
Now, hold on.
I'm pretty deep in that Mario lore. I don't know what you're talking about.
What about the Sonic fandom?
Yeah, I'm not a furry, so I don't involve myself in the Sonic fandom.
Yeah, I'm not. See, I'm not trying to dunk on the Sonic fandom, but that is an intense fandom.
It's insane.
Also, I just literally finished Thousand Year Door last night, so it's like, okay, like, the Mario stuff may be a little deeper than initially given credit for.
Okay, I would like to officially amend my statement, since I also had to be in a white noise room at 4 a.m. to argue with Shigeru Miyamoto, and I won, by the way. But, like, there's just the general idea of not every franchise has conventions dedicated to it. Not every franchise has multiple permanent cafe locations dedicated to it.
It's true.
And yet here we are.
While we were talking about this, it really made me think, and not to get all emotional or whatever, but I'm so old that I got the original Nintendo Powers that were teasing the very first Final Fantasy, the 3-month sequence of strategy guides for the beginning of Final Fantasy 1, which apparently I didn't read very well, because I definitely remember getting to Provoca, the second town, and only then learning to actually equip the crap that I had bought. But I was also like 8. Or no, I was 7 maybe at the time. But I remember from that game forward, my best memories, all Final Fantasy related best memories, are of playing those games with friends or loved ones or something. Like, it is always like when I was a kid, it was with, the kids down the street, and we would get together and just hang out and chat and goof around, and we'd hand off the controller to like grind ogres for GP. I had a buddy come over.
Sorry,
yeah. I had a buddy come over when I was in high school, like a guy that I actually had just met online, and happened to live, kind of nearby, and he came over and we just would like hang out and play Six together and stuff like there's just so many like great memories of people in my life, and obviously like everybody in 14 that I've met. And like, I do meme a lot on the GC, by the way, but it is a great community. Like, in all sincerity, like, it is a really good community. It also is the great community, by the way, but it's, it's a little bit of both, and I love that.
No, you're 100% right. But Sarah, you were gonna say something?
Oh, yeah, no, just like a lot of similar stuff. I remember like 7th grade meeting up with some friends because we couldn't hang out at each other's houses at the time, but discuss like Final Fantasy tactics and which job combinations we've been trying out. And oh, hey, like go search around this thing because there's like a thing you can steal from someone. And or more recently, friend of mine who managed to get his hands on a bunch of like an SNES and a bunch of old cartridges and had never played them, and so like we sat down together, we played through Final Fantasy VI. We played through a lot of the other ones. Like for me, it's the nostalgia. For him, it's the first time, and like he knew that there were remakes and like, but he kind of wanted to see what the original was like. So it was like, hey, I get to kind of share this experience again.
Okay. One quick second. I think this is a great time to go ahead and start up our second giveaway.
Great.
Oh, wait, hold on. That didn't go as what I wanted. That didn't do what I wanted to do. Give me 2 seconds.
Something has occurred.
Nobody's
Task failed successfully.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and get that reset. Sarah, did you have any other really cool things that you wanted to
Yeah, I made a couple notes. I made a couple notes while I was on desk at the library today. So yeah, let's see.
Here we go.
Just one other thing.
Why does it cruise chaser again?
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. Just for a lot of it, like having this thing where, especially as a relatively new gamer, like a lot less sophisticated and a lot less having learned the things, like those moments of joy and insight when you figure out, oh, this is a thing that it's a weakness and you can do this, and then you're dealing so much damage, or, oh, hey, I was thinking again of Final Fantasy Tactics. Some of the times when a couple times accidentally stuff came together just perfectly. A unit hit another, got the activated chance for a knockback, which pushed them just into range for a spell effect for another, without time for them to move it. So it's like completely accidental combo that finished off the thing. So it's like this moment of like victory against great odds, of the feeling like, oh wow, that was so cool, and I bet I could figure out how to do that again.
You made your own limit break is what you did.
Pretty much. One of the things that was interesting about going back and playing those old ones with my friend was seeing how much I've learned in the interim and be like, oh, these things taught me the fundamentals of like how to approach this kind of problem, how to, what sorts of things to look for under pressure. Some of those being skills that you could take into other places. Just being comfortable with like a fast-moving battle and with watching conditions change ends up being really, really helpful when you have to start running a Zoom meeting for like 30-odd elementary school age kids.
You get the ability to say one problem at a time. You get the ability to, I need to make a decision right now, and even if it's wrong, that has to be okay. I have to commit to it and fix it later.
Yeah.
And if you do
along with the knowledge that you can recover from it.
Yes.
One problem at a time, and this is probably a less important one, and I can figure out how to prioritize.
Worst case scenario, you die and you reload from a save point and you lose 45 minutes of playtime. That's not that bad. And then you do that again and again and again and again. And you do it so often that now if something does come up in your real world life as an adult, in a career, in an academic setting, you go, I have to make a decision and I have to commit to it. I have to be okay with failing. I have to know how to judge based on what information I do have to make a decision on information that I don't have. And you get really good at that.
Oh shit, I forgot to save.
I'm used to it enough that I don't panic about it.
That's another big one.
I tell you, bad breath teaches you so much about figuring out what to prioritize. Hey, you've got 8 different status effects. Which are the ones that will end the game if you don't take care of them now? Which are the ones that can wait a little bit?
Or do you just bail? Or do you just bail and you understand that not every battle is yours and you don't need to win every time? And that is a thing that you can do by holding L and R and piecing out and burning a bunch of items later. But when you need to do that with 30 children in front of you, that's a very different problem. But the mental skill set is very, very similar.
I would bail in that situation.
Yeah, you fucking bail.
Yeah,
I mean, 5th graders probably okay. 2nd graders are merciless.
Anyway, Chip's trying to get in.
You were saying?
No, I was just gonna say my biggest takeaway is just how many things are vulnerable to fire.
It's true.
That's another
It
valid.
turns out a lot.
Fire does work very frequently.
Yeah, when in doubt, burn it with fire. Fireball!
And if that doesn't work, brute force and ignorance until you win.
I mean, that's why Vivi is
much.
best boy.
Just keep hitting attack. It's probably fine.
Emphasis on probably.
If the music changes, you maybe should try some strategy.
Getting into you get a bunch of knowledge from doing this thing multiple times. One of my favorite FF memories was actually pretty recent. It was last year when I had just gotten back from Japan and the whole mess in Nagasaki, and I didn't really have a ton of stuff to do. I started speed running randomizers weekly for Final Fantasy 1. Thinking, oh, I know Final Fantasy 1. You use temper, you use haste, you have a monk, knights are stupid. Like, I kind of understood, like, the general idea of how to build the game. And then as I continued to play, and I played the enhanced vanilla where they fixed all the spells, and you could buy items in stacks and they weren't a nightmare, and you could start seeing kind of how the game worked by just natural upgrades that we made later, I realized how much I knew of the game was basically nothing. I thought I knew the game very well. I had beaten it multiple times. I knew garbage compared to actual speedrunners and actual people that ran randomizers. And once I started going through that randomizer, I was able to say, okay, now I can prioritize. I need these key items. I don't care what order I get them in. These two are optional. If I get one, cool. If I get two, awesome. I could get by with 0. And I've reached a point where when I'm problem solving now, I don't need every single node of information in order to problem solve, because I have the ability to say, okay, I have 27 points of data, but I don't know what the values are, but I can get by with about 6 of them, which is insane in an actual like business data setting. But in a video game, no, I really can get by with like 6, and understanding that prioritization, understanding where to look if I've missed something, keeping that mental structure down. The first time I beat a randomizer and got like a sub 4-hour time, I was like, holy crap, I got one. And they're like, yeah, good job. You know, the fastest time is 2 hours and 15 minutes, but you haven't done a sub 4-hour in months. So I got to be successful at something by putting in the time, by putting in the work, and by seeing the success in something that I came in thinking that I knew it. And I got very humbled very quickly. And now coming out of it, I realized that when I was playing the FF1 Pixel remaster, I beat it and I was like, cool, I beat Chaos. And then I looked at my save file for like the New Game Plus and all the bestiary stuff. I'm like, yeah, I missed Excalibur. I missed Mas Mune. I missed Dragon Mail. I missed like half the items in the game because I didn't need them anymore. Because in my brain, I knew how to prioritize. And now the game, the original game, I can do even better than when I thought I knew the game. That kind of humbleness
how well you understand it.
That kind of humbleness and ignorance going hand in hand and teaching you more than any meta knowledge ever would was a really cool experience. And that's not something that you see outside of very, very strict academic ruling. But I got to do it in an NES game. I got to do it on a Raspberry Pi. I got to do it on an iPad. That's a super, super cool version of the future that I am 100% down for.
Yeah, you didn't have to
I
pull
do
the
want to
cartridge
throw
out
in
and go.
Right.
I do want to throw in one last one, kind of the opposite side of that, like going really deep into mechanics, understanding how the system works. I may have mentioned before, my father, he's a librarian like I am, his undergraduate degree, though, was in philosophy and religion. And so, like, it had been like, okay, these are just the games that my son plays, all that. Until one day I wandered up to him and was like, Dad, who's Shiva? And he's like, this is not a question he expected to ever get out of me. And so it's like, okay, ask about what I was asking. I led him over to the TV, showed him Final Fantasy IV, showed him this summon, and then we start talking like, okay, the actual thing is usually this, and it's a little stranger doing this. The ice thing might be an aspect of that. Like, he started treating it as like okay, these games are making these real world references to various histories, mythologies, all sorts of stuff like that. It started becoming a thing where I'd come to him and tell him, like, okay, this thing had this like, it used this term. What does that one mean? And it's like, all right, it is time for you to learn about Gnosticism. Stuff like that.
It was playing Final Fantasy IV, you said.
Well, no, this was as the years progressed.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, if you come into him with Final Fantasy IV and be like, Dad, what's Dante's Divine Comedy? Okay.
I mean,
we can do this, but it's gonna take a minute.
I think we already had talked about that because he just really, really likes Dante's Divine Comedy, so he had talked to me about it before.
Yeah, but Dante's Divine Comedy doesn't turn children to stone. Like, it's a slightly different experience.
Yeah.
I mean, the like 2/3 of it are pretty freaking boring.
Yeah. Everyone's there for the Inferno, and that's about it.
The only good part. Sorry.
Paradise is boring.
Yeah.
But no, just like as the years progressed, then he started becoming a bit more. I'd be like, "Hey, I got the Final Fantasy VII." He'd be like, "Okay, be like, let me know if anything interesting happens in it." And then this would progress to like, "Hey, I'm gonna sit on the couch and read my book, but whenever a cutscene comes up, I will watch it." And then it became, "You better buy Final Fantasy X too, because I want to know what happened to Yuna."
He turns into an idol and gets handguns.
He was surprisingly okay with it. He still makes references to some of the side quests to this day. He also found it delightful.
Friend of the podcast, Verasa-chan, who's not in the chat tonight, unfortunately, she cosplayed as Yuna. She like built it out of like pillowcases and like sewed her like one of her early cosplays. And then as soon as 10.2 came out, she's like, "Oh my god, yes, more 10 content." And she got it, and she was like, "All right." And like the next day, she started doing sit-ups, and people were like, "Why are you getting so weird about fitness? Why did you sign up for a dance class?" And she's like, "Because I need to look like this." And we were like, "Okay."
Commitment.
Yeah.
Not entirely true. You don't need that, but at the same time, like I saw like the pictures of when she did have Songstress Yuna, and I'm like, yeah, no, you definitely put in the work for that. You were also in your early 20s and could still put in the work for that. But like I've seen her do a lot of cosplays over the years, and I have never seen her put so much work as I did as soon as 10.2 came out. She watched the opening scene and basically turned the game off and like started looking up yoga and like how to do yoga for beginners at like 21 years old. She was like, "Nope, time to learn this skill now." Final Fantasy's awesome. It gets us into some weird hobbies, but it's very, very cool.
I learned Gnosticism for this damn series.
I learned Python! Okay?
I learned how to podcast.
Yeah.
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 Well,
I learned how to research audio equipment.
Well,
I paid money to Stitcher. I've done... There's a lot of stuff we do.
Here's the thing.
I started studying stuff about how one tans leather. Turns out it's kind of gross.
I mean, realistically, for me, there was an ulterior motive for starting the podcast. It's not just because I really enjoy Final Fantasy. It's also an opportunity for me to try and step out of my comfort zone. I am a massive, what's the word I want here?
Introvert.
Thank you.
Agoraphobe?
No, not quite that bad.
I was being nice, damn it.
I was being realistic about the effects of the pandemic on pretty much everyone.
You're not wrong, but
Dude, I went agoraphobic for a good couple months during it.
We all did.
yeah,
We all did.
No, I just thought people were evil, but well, they still are. Anyway, getting back to the story.
You were perfectly pleasant to meet. I will just say that.
Okay, it was very nice meeting you too.
It was really I mean, it was perfectly pleasant, seamless interaction. I would not. If you're agoraphobic, then maybe I am too.
No, I'm not actually agoraphobic. Sarah's just being a total shitlord. But I am very much an introvert, and I wanted to do something to try and get better with, not only, presenting in front of a number of people, but, being better at speaking more extemporaneously about things that I really enjoy. And, I'm still not the greatest podcaster in the world, but I think, from episode 1 to episode 152, I think I've improved a little bit, and I think we've been able to put on some good content, and I've been able to open up a little bit more and be a little bit more able to, put myself out there more than I would have in the past. Like, what was it, like 2 years ago? No, it was 2018. We did the panel at Anime Detour, where I actually presented, so you want to be a podcaster in front of a number of people live. And that's something that I probably would have never done, in the past, because I just did not enjoy, putting myself out there like that.
I think for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, it presented like a kind of, like the series has presented so many different visions of the world and all the different things that are in it, and made them enticing enough that people start being like, okay, maybe I'll push a little outside of what I know, because this does actually look kind of cool in so many different ways.
The amount of crap that I have asked Cat Pyrocats about regarding to the Weaver quest line drives her insane. I learned how to line up that fiber. It was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
We got raw fiber off of an alpaca, and she got these like custom steel rotted lining tools made. And there's a picture of me in the Discord somewhere sitting on her couch straightening fiber out for a podcast, so that I had notes on how to finish this quest line and this item for a podcast. It was covered in llama pee. I love this game, but oh my god, the weird stuff that we do to get there.
Because this game and this series did so much to tell you that there is this really fascinating thing that you don't know about, and it seems worth knowing about.
I mean, I fish a lot in game and in other Final Fantasy games, and I don't do that in real life at all. I don't think I would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, just re-upped his fishing license and went fishing this week.
I want to try it. I don't know that I want to make a habit, but I feel like I want to try it and see how it compares.
Fishing is awesome right until you catch a fish, and then you have to like deal with the fish that you've caught.
I went fishing once and then had to deal with a fish, threw it back in. It was like swimming sideways. I was like 5. Like I've never been.
I tried it when I was 11 and I was too impatient to get anywhere.
Shantyman Gaming, congratulations, I think.
Yep, Shantyman Gaming won the 60-day time card. Congratulations. Message us.
We have got to learn how to use that bot.
In Discord, and we'll get you taken care of.
Everybody show up next Wednesday. We're going to be live for an hour playing around with a bot, and we just need you to vote every once in a while. It'll be fine.
No, it's just something.
Not actually. I don't know when we're going to do that, but we will have to do it at some point. Oh my god. But yeah, bow fishing. If you don't want to deal with like the nastiness of like hooking a fish and making sure you didn't actually hook it in its gill and you hooked it in its mouth where it's supposed to, and you don't get fined for it, bow fishing, and you don't need a license to get carp. So you just
use a bow.
You just get to hang tight and shoot fish. It's pretty fire.
Thought you said boat fishing. I was like, why is that different? I get it. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like honestly, you add archery to pretty much anything, and I'm in.
It is pretty fun, and it's also really interesting to just be standing like on a bench in a park somewhere, and they're like, there's fish here, but what are you doing? And then you get like 4 carp, and people are like, that's great, man, but like that's not the best fish to eat. And I'm like, oh, we have like 2 cats and a freezer. And they're like, oh, you're making cat food? And I'm like, yeah, we're making cat food by shooting fish in a lake in a park. It was awesome.
If you get 9,996 more, you get Lu Shang's fishing rod.
There you go.
All right, I am so traumatized right now.
Well done, Chip. Good job. Oh my god.
Oh.
Did you not have Lu Shang's fishing rod?
I don't have a fishing rod. I have a bow.
Lu Shang's on the way to Ibisu.
Oh.
I didn't play it that far, so no, I never.
Well, this is for the best.
But fishing in 11 was very different, though.
Yes.
14's is much more interesting.
Yeah. 14's fishing is absolutely better.
Well, and the fact that you don't have to worry about hooking and bringing up a giant kraken that's going to attack
also
you and kill half the people on the boat to Salbina. So.
Oh, I used to do that. I used to, on my like 75 character, I would fish up a kraken and then just walk under the deck because I was a troll. well, I said I am a troll, but just not in that game anymore.
I remember a dragoon friend of mine who rode the ferries for a very long time to eventually solo the sea horror. Good times. Back when the cap was 75.
Hey, Lily, look at this. You go to a different show and we're still just talking about a game you never played. It's just instead of me and Kristen doing it, it's
But
We are all that traumatized.
Lily, good news. I only played 11 for like a really, really short burst of time. So I'm kind of with you. Don't worry.
I
It's
beta
fine.
tested it on the PS2
Yeah.
on dial-up.
wow.
We got traumatized. It happens.
I played Quake competitively for the longest time, so I was like, oh, cool, this game uses the 10 key as well. I was fine with it. It like didn't phase me at all.
Sure.
But then everybody else was like, this game is garbage. It's 2003. Why don't we use a mouse? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I'm used to
I
it.
admittedly, I played when I got the PC version. I had such a hard time with it because I was like, "What mouse bad?" Like the mouse was actively fighting against you in that game, and so like,
Yep.
you would try and use it for camera control, and I don't know what system they implemented other than it was bad.
Yeah.
And then I learned to use the 10 key, and I was fine.
Yeah,
and I
Yep.
still play keyboard only in 14 to this day.
Well, there are certain things that I still have to use the mouse for, but I am 99% keyboard in 14 because of 11.
Yep.
Set up my
I
legacy
love the
controls and
fact that
everything.
we can do that. I love the fact that we can do that in 14, where it's like, oh, I play keyboard. Well, I play keyboard mouse. Well, I play keyboard mouse controller.
Or
Well,
yeah,
I
you
play
can
just
use
controller.
One of these too. And
Yeah,
that's great.
I was gonna say,
Right.
here's mine. Like that's, but we can all do that. And if we're just gonna sit there and farm fish, or if we're gonna sit there and mash crafting macros, maybe I don't need to sit in front of a keyboard. I can totally lean back in the chair with the controller. If I'm gonna do
Really,
a
what
raid,
was
if I'm
it?
gonna try to heal or something, maybe I do want a mouse. Like that's really hard on a controller. It's
Mhm.
doable,
What
but
was
it's
it
hard.
that Lily? What was it that Kristen was doing for the longest time? Because she had like a
So-
wild control scheme that I couldn't believe.
So I always thought she just played on controller. So fun fact, when I did meet Kristen in person, it was because things brought me to Denver, and I'm like, just fly out to California to hang out with Kristen. So I went there just to hang out with her. I spent like a few days with her. So we were playing Final Fantasy. I brought my laptop, and she was playing with the keyboard and a controller because on the TV tray, like her mouse can't move, and she was like moving her character with the controller and attacking, but then like targeting or something with the keyboard. Like she was jumping between the two, or maybe
Wow.
she was attacking on the keyboard, so like anytime she was
Like-
attacking and doing her combos and had to move, she had to like pull her hand down to her lap to start moving and then go back up to the keyboard. I was like, what?
I think like all her macros, or not all her macros, but all her hotkeys and stuff were keyboard. But then she would like move with the controller and do camera control with the controller or something. It was wild.
Just I don't know how she plays. She plays keyboard and mouse now that she has a computer, but like when I saw her do that, I was like, wow,
It was incredible.
not what I expected like at all.
That's insane.
As an old Phantasy Star Online player from the Dreamcast days, yeah, the couch with
Wow.
the keyboard in your lap with the Dreamcast controller with the two VMUs in it, and there's a lot of like holding the Dreamcast controller upside down in one hand, moving the with the stick with your thumb, and then you're typing left-handed because you grew up playing Counter-Strike or using aim, so you can type just left-handed. And you're like, all right, I got this on Dreamcast. On dial-up, it was an absolute nightmare, and I'm so glad that we've moved past it.
And
But
that's
it was
why
pretty.
That's why I had that special Logitech keyboard controller for PS2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the one that plugged into the bottom or the top of the controller and clipped in or whatever.
No. For PS2, it was actually
It had some USB ports on the front.
Oh yeah,
It was the big one.
giant super controller.
Yep, and then the keyboard was in the middle. You could actually take it off, and then you
Yeah.
plugged in via a USB port and then a PS2 controller
Oh
port.
my god.
You could also just use a regular type keyboard, so I was on PS2 but played with a keyboard.
Yeah,
We could just play normal games like not weirdos, but that's boring, I guess.
I mean, but it was just nice because then you can set it down on your lap and you can type on it and then pick it back up and move the controller as normal. I actually bought a second one because I dragged a buddy, my boss when I worked at Office Max at the time. I dragged him into this game and he was playing on PS2 and needed one of those keyboards.
jeez.
So I gave him mine and bought a second one. And then he proceeded to break it.
Funny.
But no, that was janky but fun. Any other really cool memories that you guys want to share? Actually, when it comes to Final Fantasy, podcasting, whatever.
One last one.
Oh, boy.
Lily and I were talking yesterday a hot bit about Eorzea Cafe, and I actually was on a just random Facebook group. Somebody was just like, let's do meetups for Final Fantasy 14 groups all over the world. And we were like, well, that sounds really cool. Thinking like, hey, I'm nearby. I'm going to do one here. We'll gather people in like little small cadres. We'll gather at conventions or gaming stores or whatever. And so I was like, cool, I'll do ones in Seattle. And she's like, well, I live in Tokyo, so I guess I'm doing ones in Tokyo. Her husband was stationed there. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So she asked me to join as an admin, and we did. And then she posts in another group, hey, I'm going to Eorzea Cafe on Sunday. I have an extra ticket. Because I bought a table of 4 because I had 2 friends. Is anybody going to be in Tokyo? And I messaged her. I'm like, weirdly, yes. It's like Thursday morning. And I'm like, actually, yeah. Like, I'll totally meet you on Sunday. Let's go. I've never been before. And then she messages me again. She goes, wait, are you the same guy that's my admin in the other group? And so we ended up becoming friends. And like, we went out to a park and had lunch on Saturday. We went to Eorzea Cafe. I met 2 of her friends that I'm still friends with to this day. I went to her going away parties when she got restationed and met a bunch of cool people from there. One of whom has imported a lot of neat merch for me. And at one point, this girl, Mary, decided that she needed to move all 3 of her cats from Tokyo to Colorado Springs.
Oh boy.
So who else do you call when you've been living in Tokyo for the last 4 years but all of your wonderful adventurer friends from Eorzea? Hey, everybody who's come to Eorzea Cafe over the last 3 years that I've been hosting expats and visitors going to it. Is anybody by chance going to be traveling from Tokyo at this point? I can leave my cat with a friend. You can pick it up later. We'll figure out how to get it there. And I said, so I'm self-employed and I have too much time on my hands. I'll make you a deal. I'll get myself there. You have to get me home. If you can get me to Vancouver, BC, Seattle, or Portland, I will take care of it from there. And then you figure out how to get your 3 cats and your husband and your stuff down to Colorado. You just have to get me stateside and I will figure it out. And she goes, that is a terrible deal for me. And I said, cool. Did anybody else tell you yes? And she goes, I hate you a little bit right now.
Wow.
4 days is the amount of time that I spent in Japan. And that was the trip where I got like almost arrested in China at 4 a.m. Because my name was wrong on the passport. So that was cool. But I went, like, we met being fans of 14. And we went to the internet and said, we want to make more 14 friends. And a bunch of people said, yeah, and then didn't do anything. So it ended up just being the 2 of us. But I ended up traveling to Japan and lying to airport security about a cat that wasn't mine.
And what's the statute of limitations on that?
I don't care anymore because I don't find my friends with Mary anymore.
An extradite.
It doesn't. I mean, I should have been kicked out of Japan for last year, so like it doesn't matter. But I straight up, we had 3 matching carriers. We had 3 different cats. They gave me the story for the cat because you're not allowed to carry luggage that isn't yours. So like, sir, is this your cat? Knowing full well that they watched Mary pick up my jacket and all the carriers match. I'm holding a cat and I go, yes, this is Fleur. She is white, fluffy, and old, and we love her. She is named after a character from Harry Potter. And I'm saying it's totally deadpan. And they're like, okay, so that's definitely not your cat. But it's pretty obvious what's going on. And like, one guy's military. So it's like, all right, we see what's happening. It's fine. Fun fact, I wasn't carrying Fleur. I had the orange cat. And so I just dead ass held up this cat and said, this cat is white. And the security was like, yeah, okay, getting on the plane. Like, just absolute full tilt bluff straight to their face that worked. Because I didn't know, so it worked out. But like, that's not a thing that happens unless you have a whole bunch of weird shit lined up in the process. And ours was Final Fantasy 14, wanting to do meetups, wanting to develop a community, wanting to go to Eorzea Cafe, understanding how Eorzea Cafe worked. We had a group that we met up with later that was coaster collectors that we traded coasters with. What? We were Facebook friends. How did all of these pieces line up to we're now using U.S. military funds to fly our friend across an ocean with a cat? like, like it's Final Fantasy XIV is a huge game outside of the servers.
Yes.
Case in point, we're all in different time zones, except for Sarah and I.
Yeah.
Well, and Chip.
Oh, Chip,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all West Coast. Woo, Pacific time.
West Coast, best coast.
Heck yeah.
I won't finish that, but any others?
I just Lily just gave me specifically this look, I believe.
No, there is no.
No. Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Chip, did you have any others that you wanted to share?
I mean, just really shortly, like I remember as I was talking about playing Final Fantasy games, my best friend from elementary school throughout like the summer between our 4th and 5th grades, we learned that his family was moving back to Brazil, and I just remember like Raphael and I sat down and played through all of Final Fantasy 2/4 on the Super Nintendo, like at his house. And I mean, we did a bunch of other stuff that summer, but he was just one of the best friends I had as a kid, and just the nicest guy. And we've caught up again a couple times, thanks to the internet, the magic of the internet. But it still is like a special memory for me.
Very cool. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that we can share with our friends. We can make new friends on.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's got the magical ability to, draw people together. And that's, like I said, we've been talking about it for 6 years, and here's to 6 more. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers to that. Cheers
Nice.
to that. Let's go see.
And now, everybody listening live on the podcast or listening to us live here at twitch.tv/PhoenixRadio or on the podcast, we'd actually like to hear some of your favorite stories when it comes to Final Fantasy. You can reach out to us at PHXDN Radio on Twitter, or you can email us podcast@PhoenixRadio.com and share some of your stories with us. We might read them on an upcoming show. In fact, we will. So share those with us, and we'd love to share your stories. All right. So the 6th anniversary, the traditional gift for that is going to be iron. And we really don't have anybody who's an expert armorer or weaponsmith on this show. But the more modern gift is sugar. And who better to talk about sugar than our resident culinarian, Taliz.
The resident Dagashi master is here, and he has brought snacks.
The main
More
thing I know
importantly-
about candy is that you burn yourself severely when you make it.
Yeah, that's why I just buy it. Anyway, so 6 years, and according to not nearly enough Google searching, apparently the one version of the 6-year anniversary is sugar, specifically candy. Again, also iron, but that's something we get from broccoli and Chateaubriand. And sugar we get from Conpaito. Conpaito is super, super, super cool. There's going to be a whole bunch of links in chat, by the way. So if you are watching us live, you're going to want to jump in on those. And I will throw the links into the Discord later, into Prep Station. So Conpaito is small sugar crystal candies that come in a variety of colors and flavors. It turns out I gave all of my Conpaito to Sugar Queen last week when I visited her in Portland. And by gave, I mean she took it all out of my car without me knowing. So, oops.
Name checks out.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
god, those are super cute.
They're adorable. They're adorable. Now let's see, make sure I'm getting the right links in. So those are actually from the Skytree in Midgar. Those were a special edition that was available last year at the Tokyo Skytree for the Final Fantasy VII remake themed bar, restaurant, and floor of decorations.
Oh, my name is Taliz, and I got to go to Japan and go to see the Skytree and blah, blah, blah.
I love
No
Japan.
jealousy at all.
So
You weeb.
yeah, it's available as kind of a collectible omiyage type thing for the event. Those little jars were also like $17.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, they're kind of a lot. So
Thanks, Square Enix.
if you have a local Asian grocery store near you, whether it's Wajmaya, H Mart, something like that, look around and see if they carry Compete though, because it's going to be a lot cheaper. It's still going to be kind of expensive. It's going to be like $5 for like a medium-sized bag of it. However, if you're willing to celebrate Jeff's store existing, we do have a small affiliate link right here if you want to go buy a 50-pound or 50-count like bag of them for $10. They are super, super cool. They're really sweet. They are flavored, but I'm going to be real. If you close your eyes and eat a purple one and a green one, they do still taste the same. But they're super good. They're super bright. They're really colorful, and you will see them a lot in anime as little things. I think the Soot Sprites are carrying them in one scene of Spirited Away, and you'll see them a lot.
That's what those were.
It's on
That's
Fate,
what I
though.
was thinking of. Yeah.
That's on Fate, though. So you'll see a lot of that in a lot of anime. So now you know what it is, and you can go snack on some yourself. So looking at entirely too much candy and getting wildly distracted, I started digging into candy in the Final Fantasy franchise specifically, and I found a lot of neat stuff. Rest assured, to all of our amazing listeners and viewers, I definitely missed the one thing that you are thinking of, so don't worry. I am skipping that and doing a bunch of other stuff that I found. We're going to kick things off with a very, very easy one that is near and dear to our hearts. Oh, hey, 7 Deadly Streamers, you have an emote. Very cool. This is the Butterfinger promotion in Final Fantasy XIV. It was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. Players could send in receipts of Butterfinger purchases to get a Chocopokor mount. It's the little chocolate-covered leaf thing. So again, sorry, Chili, I tried to rig the system and send you a receipt, and it just didn't end up working out. But that was one of our first candy things that we got in 14, is we got to have a mount, which, sure, why not? Now, another thing that was kind of cool in Final Fantasy XIV, and this link is only going to be available on Discord because it's freaking huge, and Twitch won't let me put it in. FanFest 2019 saw the release of a candy tin in Japan. If you want one, it's available on eBay. It's about the size of a soda can. It says FanFest 2019 on the side and has a bunch of super cool art. It's gummy candies, individually wrapped little gummy candies. It's on eBay for $50.
Damn.
So if you want stale gummy candy and a really neat can, you can do that. That candy needs to be able to vacuum my house if I'm going to spend $50 on it, so that's for someone else to get.
Fair.
Now, if you can't be bothered with such pedestrian offerings as $50 cans of stale candy, there's something even better for you. And this took me an unhealthy amount of time to research, like literally more than 2 hours. So y'all are welcome. I found mini Pez dispensers.
Wow.
From Final Fantasy V
Oh,
that
whoa.
were randomized and released in a gachapon machine in chocobo eggs for 200 yen.
Oh my god, because it's not just the characters, it's the jobs.
It's the characters in the jobs.
Oh,
now,
no.
that being said, it is our full cast of 5. So Kryl is wearing the
no.
Time Mage hat, so that's why she doesn't have the little pokey ears. Bartz is the Dragoon, based on the cards that they came with when they were still unwrapping. Bartz is the Dragoon, so you can only really just see his eyes. The other 3 of Lena has her pink hair, Ferris has the purple hair, and Galoof has the goatee beard, so they're pretty easy to keep track of. Those are super cool. They are available on Mercari for about $85 in a couple of spots. So if you want to have really, really cool collectibles that are really niche, that require a ton of info, we got you covered. Welcome to Final Fantasy. It's expensive here. Now, here's where it gets dumb. And Sarah, you're going to be excited because this is a game that you played and that you know a lot about. The first actual candy item in Final Fantasy. First of all, there's only 2 things that are called candy. There might have been like chocolate bar or something like that in a crafting log from 11 or 14, but this is something that is just, quote, candy. It came about in Final Fantasy Adventure. So it only sort of counts because, yeah, exactly, because it's a Seiken Densetsu game. It's only in that. It replenishes 8 hit points. It is your very first consumable healing item. It is outclassed pretty much immediately. The cure item has 2 uses and heals 16 HP and costs 20 gold less. So, but it's droppable by monsters, so you can carry a crap ton of it. But it is there. It looks like a little tiny drop candy in the little twist with the flirts on the either side. So
Final
now we get to
Fantasy
break.
Adventure is the best
Clip.
game.
It is like the emoji candy.
It's emoji candy, exactly. So now from Brave Exvius, everyone's favorite way to destroy their phone battery. We find the next candy. It's an icon of a round candy. It's wrapped in a purple little foil thing. Flavor text includes a delicious round drop obtained from the far plane. You can exchange the candy with King Boogle during Mana Mystery, which is a crossover with the Secret of Mana franchise, which means it's the same candy from Final Fantasy Adventure.
Extra dimensional now.
So, yeah, it's iconic candy. And I think emoji candy is the best way to explain it. So yes, congratulations, we have candy that we stole from someone. Final Fantasy stole someone else's candy.
Woohoo!
It was a Square Enix property. They just stole it from someone else's team. That's fine.
As sad as this is, and the heartbreak that we do have, hearts are mended on Valentine's Day as we gift chocolate to one another. And Square Enix was like, yo, we can make money on that. So they did. And they created a special release of chocolate in 2014. Some of the images are unfortunately gone from this Sora news article, sadly, because it was from 2014. But the first image up there is the Materia Candy. It's a hard candy shell similar to like an M&M, but it's glaze coated, so it's really shiny and it's a bunch of different colors. They are Materia chocolate. They are absolutely gorgeous. They were not too bad. They're in the $20 range, but they came in. There was 5 reasonably big chocolates, and they came in a super cool decorative box. It's very good for
That looks
Omiyage.
like something you'd find at an actual chocolatier.
Exactly. It's an actual chocolatier grade candy. It's something for Omiyage. It's something to give as a gift. This is not the thing that you pick up in the check stand of the grocery store. This is the thing that you specifically go to buy because it's someone's birthday or Valentine's Day or whatnot. Japanese chocolate brand Morinaga makes a chocolate malt ball that was incredibly popular in the 80s. It was called the Choco Ball, or Chocoboru. The mascot for the product is Kyoro-chan, a bird that says "kwe."
It says what?
It says, push the button, push the button. Do we have the sound effect? Please tell me we have the sound effect.
Did you not hear it?
Wait, no.
Nope.
Boop. Anyway, but yes, the mascot is Kyoro-chan, and it's very, very obviously designed to be like, this is the thing that we kind of took inspiration from when we made our chocobos and when we kind of built it. Yes, so Chocoboru, there we go. Yes, if you find chocoballs, which you can still find chocoballs at Family Marts and Suncuss and a couple of other places in the little like side markets within Japan. So if you're there. So anyway, that was a lot of fun to kind of look up. I thought there was going to be like way more, and if I had more time to read through the entire Culinarian log like I used to do, I probably would have found more. So if you guys find something in the Culinarian log or something Final Fantasy candy related that I totally missed, definitely check us out on the Discord and harass me about it.
I don't remember very many others. Like, there's a couple small chocolates, but a lot of it is more like full-on dessert plate kind of things.
Like the chocolate, like the chocolate log thing that's around every Christmas is like the 10
Bouche
use.
de Noël or whatever they call it.
Like stuff like that. But as far as candy specifically, I wanted to narrow my focus so I didn't go nuts. But there's a lot of stuff. So if you could think of any cool Final Fantasy candy related, also Tchaikovsky, you're not in the chat, but I know that you're going to listen to the podcast and I know you're going to send me candy that you make because that's how you work. We love to see that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for 6 years of fantastically amazing culinary and fantasy and adventure with the 7 of us that have all had the honor of getting to be hosts here. It has been an absolute blast. Thank you guys for joining us on this wild, crazy, and weird journey.
Yes, this has been a very crazy year, to say the least. But it's been a lot of fun to have, you and Sarah with me here, Taliz. And it's been, an awesome time. Thank you so much for an additional year, giving us 6 years doing this podcast. Lily, Chip, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a good time doing this live. I know you guys are used to, recording it and then doing the podcast later on. But this must be a little bit different for you guys, huh?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's still a lot of fun. It's nice having that interaction because we usually don't use webcams when we record either, so we kind of just do whatever. So it's nice seeing everyone's face, and thank you so much for having us. It was awesome. So
A very good time. So if I remember correctly, so like I said, ours was, the 6 year was iron or sugar. What was the 3 year anniversary? What was that? What were those gifts?
Remember.
So
Let's see.
I thought it was crystal. I think that is the modern version.
Leather is the traditional one. Crystal is the modern one.
Yeah, leather and
Leather,
crystal
huh?
kind of track, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're using that leather for.
There's a lot of like armor materials in here. You got leather, you got iron, you've got crystal mail, if you will. You maybe have some leather and iron together.
I have to imagine that
It's
stuff
getting a
is
little
like
weird, but
studded with crystals, because actual like made out of crystal, that's
Studded,
gonna
huh?
like shatter.
hard to move. Yeah.
Oh my.
Anyway, we had it was a lot more funny the first time we came up with it, right, Chip?
It was.
God damn it.
We
I'm gonna go ahead
tried.
and
We
take the-
tried. Sorry, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but yeah.
Take the L. It's fine.
And on
Who
that
came
bombshell, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, please consider to like, follow, or subscribe to us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, or really whatever your preferred podcatcher is. And if possible, leave us a rating or review. It helps other people find our show and lets us know how we're doing. If you really dig the show, you can consider subscribing here at twitch.tv/PhoenixStarRadio, where it's currently September, and you can get 20% off on your first subscription here on Twitch. Also, you can get a little bit of a discount on gifted subs to people. So if you're interested in gifting a sub to somebody or just subbing for the first time, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be us, but if you want to support a streamer out on Twitch, this is definitely a good way to do it. You'll get access to a number of subscriber-only emotes and badges. Or if you want, you can go out to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PhoenixStarRadio and support us like our benevolent overlord, Aurora Fenrir, or our shadowy foro investor, Tibiant Salts.
So cool.
Love that we give people titles.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All proceeds go towards growing the show, cover hosting costs, allow us to improve and upgrade equipment, as well as do fun things like these contests and giveaways. But any kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, tweets, or retweets, follows, subs, or donations, like we got earlier from Kupo Mithril, they all go, it's always greatly appreciated. We just love interacting with you guys and the rest of the community. If you want to check out our backlog of podcasts, you can go out to our website, PhoenixStarRadio.com. If you have questions, show ideas, or just want to say hi, you can always send us an email, podcast@PhoenixStarRadio.com. And make sure to follow us out on Twitter at PHXDNRadio and retweet that special tweet that we're going to be sending out here shortly after the show for your chance to win a Chocobo. What was it called again? Keep forgetting what the name of the damn thing is.
Chocobo carriage.
The Chocobo carriage mount, one of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster games, or a 60-day time card to Final Fantasy XIV. So make sure to follow us out there, retweet that, and then enter the hashtag PDR 6 years. I think that's what I said. Was it not? I have to go back and forth in the notes. PDR 6
Yeah, we'll
years.
find it.
I want to make sure we give them the proper information. That would kind of suck if we didn't.
One person entered. Then they won.
Yeah, because everybody else put it in the wrong hashtag that I gave them.
Correct.
But yes, hashtag PDR 6 years. But any kind of support. Oh yeah, we did that. Never mind. I'm having one of those days. Give me a break.
It's all good,
Been a
man.
while.
Having a moment. 6 years, man.
6 years is pretty crazy. But yeah, otherwise you can always follow us here out at twitch.tv/PhoenixStarRadio and join us live. It's a lot of fun. So we usually have a little bit in the show where we do shout outs, and I'd like to let our guests start. So Pop-Tart or Chip, who wants to go first?
go first, Chip. You put me on the
Okay.
spot earlier.
That's fair.
Oh yeah, damn. Hoisted by my own petard. I'm going to give a shout out to a few folks. I want to give a shout out to Kristen, who's our third podcast host who couldn't make it because she works retail and doesn't have things like predictable schedules.
Oh, I do not miss those days.
And the rest of our FC Geki on Gilgamesh. Not that you can make characters there, but if you're on Greg and you want to come hang out, I would be remiss to not also shout out my wonderful girlfriend, Kitty, who is sitting here being very polite and quiet and just waved at me. And
Kitty.
is always recruiting. So I think she'll be proud of me for recruiting for our FC. All right, Lily, do it.
Well, before then, where do people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at WD. That's word double YEWDEE. And you can find our show account if you're so inclined. This show's probably better than ours, and you can tell because you've had to listen to me for 2 hours. At Wondrous_Tails. And actually, Lily, what's up? You explain the Match Network stuff because I don't know.
See, you took everything from me, and I was like, at least I can shout out MASH, and then you just took it from me again. But
yeah, but I don't know I don't know the Twitter accounts, so you know.
So the MASH Network, I think, is MTB Network now on Twitter, but it should also be tagged on our Wondrous Tails Twitter account. But they're the people who like do our podcast. They're the producers of it, and they have a lot of awesome other podcasts on there if you like fighting games, or I think they still have Overwatch and WoW and all kinds of different podcasts for you to listen to. So that was my one and done. I would like also to shout out Kristen. Wish she could be here today. And also Pan's girlfriend, Kitty. I would like to give her a shout out too. And then if you want to find me on Twitter, I am at S'mores Pop Tart. S'mores is spelled with a Z at the end of it. And again, also on the podcast Twitter.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was an absolute pleasure. Look forward to maybe doing more with you guys in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely let me know next time you're in Minnesota so we can get another steak.
Yes. Oh, that was a good steak.
Yes.
Yes, it was very good. We both got the same. Like, he got the steak, and then I was like, well, now I was like looking at it. Anyway, it was a whole thing, but we both had identical steaks. It was a whole moment.
California to Minnesota.
And identical beer. Yeah, we both had porterhouse, medium rare, with Oktoberfest beer. It was amazing.
Steak.
All right. Taliz, while Sarah's looking up tickets to get to Minnesota,
While Captain Research is distracted, my name is Taliz, and if you are a friend of the podcast, you've probably seen a couple of rad people in the chat, including Pyrocats, who can't be here this week. She's in California helping her parents, who just bought a new house, so that's super cool. Shout outs to my weird little cadre of people that sometimes is my employees and sometimes is just my best friends for buying me unnecessarily nice cupcakes this week. And shout outs to a friend of the podcast, Sugar Queen from down in Southwest Washington, who asked for / tolerated a trip to Portland wherein ramen, Powell's, and walks through the homeless camp were a wonderful part of our day. Thank you, Sugar Queen, for tolerating the chaos and being an amazing person. If you want to see all of the shit posting that I do, you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Marvelous Tofu. You'll know it's me because the icon looks like me.
Oh yeah, and make sure to wish Taliz a belated happy birthday.
I'm old.
Entropy continues to act upon you exponentially.
Old.
Sarah?
All right. What the hey? She's never gonna hear it, but shout out to my aunt who came for a visit with her husband, my uncle. I don't know why I describe. He came out for some work stuff, and she came down to the area to spend an afternoon with me. It was really great to see her. And just to have a little bit of time to be like, hey, here's family I haven't seen in a while. Family that I actually kind of like. It was really a wonderful time. It was really good to get a chance to catch up with her. She bought me dinner because aunts.
What'd you have?
But so yeah, we ended up going for Mexican. She was born in Southern California. She and my mom both grew up in the Los Angeles area. My uncle is from Europe, so they ended up settling in New Jersey. So she cannot get decent Mexican anywhere. So pretty much whenever she's out here, she tries to get as much as she can. She knows that I like Japanese, but I will absolutely be like, no, let's hit a couple more Mexican places for you.
Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to her. I have grown to appreciate her a lot over the last several years. You can find me on Twitter at FF14Seyr. That's FFXIV SEYRR, where I post random pictures of food that I made with my friends, retweet Moose's shit posts, and add my own layer to them. Dude, Sid/Nero is pretty much canon at this point.
Oh yeah.
You're not wrong.
No one disagrees with me on this.
No, that's yeah.
And yeah. I also tend to pay attention to the Discord most of the time. I am definitely not loading it in an incognito window when I'm at work. So yeah, I'm always happy to chat with folks there.
That didn't work. Oh, I know why. That'll work. All right. And I, of course, have to shout out our amazing guests, Lilli and Chip. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Shout out to my co-hosts, Taliz and Seyr, for putting up with me. Seyr for 6 years for some reason. I don't know why. But no,
it's like a point where I was like, I don't particularly care for Klaus, but then that wore off. Too honest?
No, but it's okay. Yes, it was too honest.
6 years, there's gotta be some points where you just want to yeet each other out the window and get it over with, and then a month later you're fine.
Very vague paraphrasing to Arrested Development there, but
yeah, Sarah's continuously shit posting, even live on the show.
It is the highest form of human expression. I have a half-hour rant about why this is the case.
And we mute the Seyr, and off we go.
That is the correct move.
Shout out to our contest winners tonight. 7 Deadly Streamers for winning that Cruise Chaser. Make sure to message us in Discord, as well as to Shantyman Gaming for winning the 60-day time card. Thank you so much for joining us live tonight. If you want to find me out on Twitter, I am at PHXDN_KLAUSS. I've been trying to post a little bit more lately, but work has always been busy, so it's kind of crazy. But make sure to check that out. And yeah, this was a really good time. So for our guests, Lilli and Chip, and for my co-hosts Seyr and Taliz, I am Klaus Neiperger, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thank you again for 6 amazing years. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Middle Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.